We'll be looking at launching the Deep Tech Impact Fund together with Tony Suber. Let's bring Tony Suber to the front stage.
Yes. So Tony Suber is the Executive Director and Chairman of the SDG Impact Fund, and he's recognized as among one of the foremost experts in donor advised funds in the US and globally. He's responsible for the day-to-day operations and leadership across finance, primary fiduciary oversight, staff administration, and executive board management. Welcome, Tony.
So let's have a welcome applause for Tony Suber, our patronage for the Deep Tech Impact Fund. Tony, I know it's very early for you over there, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Rico. I'm excited to begin this journey and to share more about who we are and what we do around the globe.
So why don't we start with introducing everyone about the SDG Impact Fund. I know you have some presentation slides to share with us, and then I will do a presentation about the Deep Tech Impact Fund after everyone have an overview on how the synergies between SDG Impact Fund and the Deep Tech Forum Impact Fund could change the world.
Sure. Let me share my screen now, and we will jump right in.
Perfect.
So the SDG Impact Fund is a US-based 501c3 public charity. We administer what are called donor advised funds. And donor advised funds have been around for a number of years. Since 1931, there has been legislation here in the US that allowed funds like ours that were specifically designated for charitable purposes to exist for the benefit of spreading good around the world, not just here, but in the US, not just here in the US, but also around the globe. There are 3,800 donor advised fund entities domiciled here in the US. However, we're one of a very few number of independents. And what I mean by independent is that we work independent, Rico, of a local area, and those entities are called community foundations. That's a very popular phrase here in the US. And there are other bank-related donor advised funds, the Wall Street funds. So a number of the large Wall Street banks also have donor advised fund platforms. And there are great pros and cons to working with all those types of entities in those particular verticals. However, we, in the third vertical, are independent, meaning we are independent of any bank, we are independent of any local community, and in fact, our clients are globally. They're all over the world. In fact, Rico, you're in Dubai. So we operate and exist to help families and family offices, corporations, and other nonprofits with their charitable administration. Whatever it is that they want to achieve around the world, we're there to help them administer those assets so that they can do good around the world. And I'm showing the screen here. We are a United Nations affiliated entity. We have 3 vertical relationships that we operate with and through. The first is the Office of Partnerships with Will Kennedy. The second is the Foundation for the Support of the UN with and through Janet Salazar. And the third is with their Smart Cities program with and through Kari Ike. All three of those are quite significant for who we are and what we do around the world. But one of the things that we espouse is all that we do, we focus on the United Nations 17 SDGs that you see here on this screen. It is our guidepost, and we spread this message far and wide because it really is a very succinct way for our world's issues and concerns to be answered. And it's a guidepost that we follow, and we hope that others will too. Here are some bullet points that I will share with the audience. And I won't go through all these, but I will just continue to highlight some of the facts that are in there. There are over 3,500 donor advised fund platforms here in the US that operate not just here, but around the world. We are a IRS recognized 501c3 public charity, and we administer donor advised funds, pooled income funds, charitable trusts, and a number of other estate instruments for families and family offices. Here are some additional information on the Donor Advised Fund and why we believe that this vehicle not only serves those here in the US, but those around the world. One of the things that we find in terms of charitable giving and charitable giving accounts is that many of our clients and the families that we work with, Rico, are very focused on what it is that they want to help the world achieve. Sometimes, though, they need the subject matter expert or the consultant, if you will, to help them manage through that process, to fill out paperwork, to make sure everyone is compliant. And those are just some of the roles that we play at the SDG Impact Fund. What we really want to accomplish is that we become a platform for good to be done around the world. That families and family offices and corporations can come to us, no matter where they are in their philanthropic journey, and leverage our platform for doing good. And doing good could mean a host of different things. Long as it fits the 17 SDGs, we are there right with you, lockstep, to help you accomplish those goals. Here's another screen on really the diaspora of opportunity that exists when you work with a donor advised fund like the SDG Impact Fund. We are able to help our clients and our benefactors span a wide range of assets in terms of their giving. Not everyone, Rico, wants to give cash and have that cash then be converted to doing good around the world. Sometimes they want to give stock, or they want to donate a meteor. We've had that conversation. Or sometimes they want to donate precious gems or gold, mineral rights that are in the ground. We even opened up an NFT program in December of last year, and now we have over 400 NFTs in our fund. And we're doing all sorts of things, as you know, in the metaverse to highlight some of those NFTs. Essentially, we want to be the Library of Congress, if you will, so that everyone in the world has an opportunity to display their NFT to the rest of the world. We don't want to be picking winners. That's not what we do. We want everyone's work to be shared with the world. Here's a typical slide, and I won't go into detail about this, but here's a typical flow of the assets that go into our fund. Someone creates an account on our platform. The account gets administered through the work that we do. Those assets are then invested in a wide variety of pools, whether that be other stocks, NFTs, cryptocurrency, you name it. We have an investment opportunity for those assets. And then at some point in the near or distant future, those assets are then granted out to charities around the world. Here is the core of our team. And I'll say a couple things about our team. 4 of the people here, including myself, are co-founders of the fund. That is Amber Nystrom, who spends most of her time in Iceland and working through and with the UN for our many partnerships there. Vince Molinari, who is out of New York, a decorated fintech professional, and Coburn Bell, also out of New York and the West Coast. Coburn is a cryptocurrency guru and head of the Museum of Crypto Art currently. And Dr. Brian Dorian, who is my number 2, my right-hand guy in the fund, a trained doctoral candidate in biochemistry, and just a decorated individual in cryptocurrency and all things tech. So that's our core team, and we traverse the world in terms of the back-end support that we give to our donors and our benefactors and the many, many charities that we serve around the world, and our affiliates, Rico, like you. Here is a screen on our independent due diligence. We, in fact, have more than 20 plus custodians that house our assets around the world. Here's just a screenshot of some of those. And as we shared earlier, we have a wide variety of assets that have been donated to our fund, whether it's cash, closely held stock, privately held, that is, publicly traded stock, gems, appreciated artwork, mineral rights. I could go on and on about the diaspora of assets, and we welcome them all. As of December of 2021, we passed the $10 billion assets under administration mark. We have had quite the meteoric rise, and we attribute that to the way in which we approach the work that we do. The many benefactors who looked at our platform and decided that, yes, we are best in class, and more importantly, we make available the ability for them to donate into their fund assets that are typically not accepted at other donor advised fund platforms. This is a saying that we espouse to, and I'll let everyone read it for themselves, but it's important that we, as a collective universal body, begin to engage one another and really find solutions to help the least of these in our world. I think we are called as human beings to make sure that we all live out the purpose of why we are here on this planet. And with that, I'll say thank you. I'm looking forward to this launch and all that we plan to accomplish together, Rico, and I'll stop here and ask if any questions.
Great, Tony. It's been good to let everyone know how the SDG Impact Fund has grown so significantly since we last had a conversation last year, and so excited that we're actually bringing more lights into the deep tech sector. And of course, we are working on a range of matters, including the blockchain, crypto side of things, but there will be launch mainly in the World Blockchain Center event at the end of the year. But back to the Tech Forum, in the healthcare sector, in the agricultural sector, in the smart city sector, there's so many verticals that actually can benefit from the donor advised fund structure. And hence, that is the focus of what we are looking at. As you know, as we have heard from earlier speakers, for example, the space industry, actually struggling to get more generalist investors, family offices, to understand how can the space industry can utilize some of the impact funds or donations to actually bring forward, disruptive solutions on some of the problems we are facing on Earth, even through the, in the healthcare, in a lot of new materials to be discovered from the space exploration that can actually change planet Earth. So I think that's something that we are obviously looking forward to work together on those sort of matters. And I'll without further ado, I will do a presentation about the Deep Tech Impact Fund. And just give me 1 second to pull out the full deck for this purpose. There you go. I'll just do a quick section about that.
Sure.
So I want to explain to the public about what is a Deep Tech Impact Fund and the importance of impact. The Deep Tech Forum is a platform that we have created to address some of the global concerns, the key fundamental concerns towards game changer, towards a sustainable future of human race. We have been focusing a lot on life sciences, agricultural, sustainable clean energy. And as we are aware, 97% of the deep tech ventures today contributes to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we are part of that vision and execution on that. And the core principles of deep tech is to solve problem. And it will be on multiple levels, including economic, business and social impact. And one of the main reasons why we have the Deep Tech Forum on the virtual arena, and in the near future it will be a metaverse arena, is because we want to focus on connecting minds of great visions and wisdoms and having a convergence, without having to meet physically, and comprehending the approaches that can accelerate and redefine the innovation across different verticals. Because most of the researchers and scientists that we are aware, they were so focused and working in their silos, and the community itself needs a lot of support and exposure to different verticals and industries so that the convergence can go through and change some of the initiatives and bring forward the development of the research and developments in different sectors. In terms of the growth in the deep tech, we have actually grown from 15 billion to more than 60 billion between the last 5 years. The investment in the deep tech, including private investments, minority stakes, mergers, acquisitions, IPOs, actually quadrupled over a 5-year period of time. That seems to be pretty impressive. I do believe that that figure can improve, over the next 5 years, especially when we had the pandemic. A lot of things have slowed down, but we are hoping to see that in 2025, that figure should be achieving around 150 billion to 200 billion mark range. That will be very realistic. But if we can actually be part of this, that should even go higher in the next 2 to 3 years. The average disclosed amount for private investment startups was scaling from 30 million to 44 million. And for early startups, the research shows that the investments goes up to 2 million per investor. So the ticket size are relatively small. And obviously, we know the concerns about that. In the academic sector, there are more than 1,500 university and research labs being involved in deep tech. And there are more than 1,500 grants in the 2008 alone. That figures has grown up as well. We are still looking at the latest figures in 2022, but this is available publicly. So these are some of the things that we would like to see some growth in the next few years, riding on the current development. And more than 70% of the deep tech ventures actually owned their patents. And I think last year we did have a discussion about intellectual properties and some of the challenges in the IP, the structure of the IP, and conflicts between different countries in having their own standard for intellectual properties was also addressed during the Deep Tech Forum last year. So at the Deep Tech Forum, these are the primary deep tech sector that we are focusing on. It's a lot that we can actually work on, and definitely space is at the forefront. Since the last 5 years, a lot of growth has gone into space. Nanobiotechnology, robotics, renewable energy, green energy, agricultural technology, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, smart cities and conscious cities, and in the healthcare sector. And in the agricultural tech itself, it will be very important, especially for us on planet Earth in the next 5 years, as we are seeing a huge food supply chain problems due to climate change, due to man-made issues such as war, and so on and so forth, natural disasters. So I think that is something for human to survive through food supply issues. I think we have to come together to resolve this as an industry. Talent has always been a focus in any deep tech sector. The convergence of talent, knowledge, and wisdom is so crucial to the forum, and that's where we want to bring in, expert scientists to share their latest research and development. And this is where we want to share the knowledge with relevant industry stakeholders, so that will be able to drive the innovations further in a more timely manner and expedite this if possible, to actually create a better world for all of us. So the Deep Tech Impact Fund will be the pillar to fund most of these initiatives, as mentioned earlier on, and it's a joint venture between the SDG Impact Fund and Sanctum Global Ventures. And in summary, the Deep Tech Impact Fund is actually the next mile of effort where we need to be out there and influence the whole industry in the deep tech sector. A lot of investors, a lot of general partners and lead partners are still not aware, not even looking into the deep tech sector. And this is where we want them to be part of this movement together, and to ignite the awareness, and to be part of this Deep Tech Impact Fund, to converge the power and advancement of technology to give back and to create a better world for today, tomorrow, and for our future generations. And the purpose is also very strategically aligned with the United Nations 17 SDGs towards the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a blueprint to achieve better and more sustainable future for all. As mentioned by Tony, this is the 17 SDGs, and we are definitely aligned with that for the Deep Tech Impact Fund. And the fund structure from the Deep Tech Forum is that we have the Deep Tech Impact Fund, where we also have the smart cities, healthcare, agri-tech, so on and so forth. So there will be a number of separate impact funds under the Deep Tech Impact Fund that will be targeting at certain sector and industries, and we'll be working very closely with the SDG Impact Fund to achieve these missions. And I do not need to repeat this again for SDG Impact Fund. Tony is very concise on the mechanism and why the Donor Advice Fund as a platform is so important. And the history of Donor Advice Fund has also been illustrated by Tony Suber. And we welcome all the stakeholders in collaborating with the Deep Tech Impact Fund. Feel free to contact Tony and myself. We are working very closely towards this vision and the purpose as our priority. And we are always looking for the right partners to further expand the impact we can make to the world and our future. Also, I would like to thank the Malala Fund for partnering with the Deep Tech Forum this year, where we have recognized, that we will start sponsoring education for children with Malala Fund. And this is one of the milestones that the Deep Tech Forum has committed and making it happen, to advocate for education and also dealing with the policies and practices changes to help girls, to go to schools. So I think that is something that we are also committed, and we want to, support more, girls and women to get better education and equality in the society. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank some of our media partners, including the Deep Tech Insider and the IDP.net. With that, I'd like to thank Tony Suber for joining us today. And we are launching the Deep Tech Impact Fund together at the Deep Tech Forum 2022. Thank you very much. And
thank you.
Tony, let's not move. I think we have some questions going on. Earlier on, most of the delegates at the Deep Tech Forum asked, how fast do you think Elon Musk can achieve this idea of allowing humans to download human brain into robots through his Neuralink project? And what kind of change would that have our lifestyle if this is to happen, in our day-to-day life, if this is allowed to happen? Tony, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that we are, and I don't know that I truly understand the technology. I'll begin there. But I will tell you that for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, we have already developed our human bodies in a cyborg-like manner. And I'll be very succinct with my description. As healthcare and science advances, you've seen knee replacements become a big part of our healthcare system. Okay, anything that allows the human body to go from its current structure as you are when you're born to an enhanced structure to create a longer life, a more sustainable life, that is already putting us on the path to enhanced living. When you look at the growth of stent technology, the fact that we can make a slit, not even as large as your fingernail bed, that will allow a robot to travel, an instrument to travel up to and through and near your heart, to drop a device that opens up and actually can administer long-term drugs over an 8, 10, 15-year time frame. And over time, we become more and more accustomed to these cyborg-like advancements. And we haven't even touched on prosthetics, right? The fact that we can take someone, an amputee, whether they've served in the military or they were born as an amputee, the fact that we can enhance their life with science and prosthesis that enables them to be productive citizens, I think we will begin to accept more and more over time. But I think we have to be careful, right? With what I consider to be the God complex. I think we as humans are meant to be born, live a life, and pass on and create a legacy. I don't know that we have been meant or created to live forever. So those are my thoughts.
So Tony, would you like to share with everyone here on some of the new partners that will be bringing on board potentially to the Deep Tech Impact Fund through the SDG Impact Fund network?
So, wow, Rico, there are so many, and I hesitate to leave anyone out. But in terms of healthcare, I want to speak more broadly about some of the areas. When you think about some of the diseases that harm our planet, we have begun a conversation around diabetes. Diabetes is a huge disease in terms of the effects that it has on populations around the world. So many here in the audience will hear about developments with regard to diabetes and even other areas of healthcare and enhancing our longevity. And again, I don't want to single out any companies, but to make aware to the audience that we are working hard behind the scenes on topics like these and many, many others. With regard to smart cities, I can think of at least 10 right off the top of my head that that we are currently working with and will be announcing to the world with regard to taking and meeting the municipalities where they are, cities around the world, meeting them where they are and helping them progress. I've said in other meetings, we have so much data, Rico, that surrounds us on a regular basis. The fact that we can now install sensors that measure air quality and water quality. And we have, I mean, we've got sensors for red lights and green lights. But what do we do, right, with all that data? The fact that we can help communities in the third world, not just communities where we live in advanced communities, but communities in the third world use amazing data that they're already collecting, but not sure what to do with it. Again, a host of different companies that are there. I don't want to single anyone out just yet, but there's so much more to come. And I'm looking forward to engaging the world in terms of funding these projects and looking forward to partnering with them.
So on the healthcare that you have mentioned, I'd like to add on that the Deep Tech Forum Impact Fund will be prioritizing on healthcare first. I think that's the lowest hanging fruit that we can actually make changes to the world, where I will be focusing on dealing with cancer. In terms of that, we will be announcing some partnerships with some breakthrough in curing cancers. And also with regards to HIV communities, there will be also some breakthrough to actually cure HIV through some of the latest health tech that we have actually discovered. So I think stay tuned to some of these latest Deep Tech Impact Fund initiatives that Tony and myself and the whole wider community that will be part of this movement that will be converging to bring changes to the wider community on Earth. So without further ado, I'd like to thank Tony again for launching the Deep Tech Impact Fund together with me. And I will hand the stage back to the Deep Tech Forum Secretariat to bring in our speakers next. Thank you very much, Tony.
Thanks for having me. Be well.
Pleasure.